The Home Act in Baltimore County, the settlement requires, for those of you who don't know, $30 million in developer subsidies to build 2,000 or fix up 2,000 Section 8 units. That settlement also says that Baltimore County employees cannot talk about decreased property values, increased crime, or problems with the schools. Anybody in this room can do a Google search of HUD settlement with Baltimore County and read the settlement. Now, the county council voted that Home Act down at the county level 6-1. And then Delegate Lafferty turned around and sponsored a bill that would dovetail with this Home Act to basically make it mandatory for landlords to accept Section 8. In effect, it makes it mandatory for landlords to accept Section 8. So here in Baltimore County, we have, here in Towson, we have a bunch of new construction going in. People will most likely gravitate to the new construction if they have a choice. Then what happens to those older rental properties? So, Delegate Lafferty, my question to you is, will you next year, if you're reelected, come back and sponsor more legislation to force landlords to accept Section 8?
As of now, I don't have any plans for introducing legislation next year. The Home Act that was passed by the Maryland General Assembly last year was focused upon apartment buildings with 7 units or more, and would, in certain census tracts, enable or require actually property owners, landlords, to make up to 15% of the units available if it were affordable. And certainly with the rental prices in a lot of the communities in Towson, they would not be affordable. There are certain parts of the county that were going to be excluded because there already is a concentration of low-income individuals that already live in those communities. You started off, though, with I didn't know where you're going with your 428 point, because you then skipped across from that. But I do not have any plans at this point to put in legislation.
Yeah, the legislation that was put in after it was watered down, but it would force all private property owners to participate in this program, and it's based on something that's just fundamentally not true, and that is the idea that a voucher is income. Voucher is not income, it's a government program. And here in Baltimore, that government program, HUD has outsourced the management of it to a completely unaccountable group of private individuals. And what they do is they take the voucher. It's not a fixed amount of money. It depends on which neighborhood you live in. For some reason, Rogers Forge is targeted more heavily than Stoneleigh. This makes no sense, but these decisions are being made by a group of people, led by the ACLU, who are not part of government. They don't answer to government. They don't answer to any government. And what the Home Act did, and why, it's absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion, that Towson's representative would sponsor this, is it gives power to that organization to force compliance and basically run a major program that moves thousands of people around like dots on a map. And Towson is clearly the target. I never said that this was all going to be done in Towson. It's Baltimore County-wide. It's actually metropolitan-wide. It's a very complicated issue. And, I have some videos out on my site. Sign up. I'll send you more information. All of this, I'm dealing in fact. I'm not dealing in fear or, speculation. These are real things. So,
well, what you just said was not true. The Home Act has nothing to do with the ACLU, has nothing to do with any other organization. It has to do with people who are currently eligible for vouchers and where they are able to use that voucher. It does not put any undemocratic body in charge of any determinations about where people live. This is an individual's opportunity to use their voucher to move into a place where their lives can be better. Much of the testimony, it's interesting, in Baltimore County, of the voucher holders, 1/3 of the people are disabled, 1/3 of the people are seniors, and about 1/3 of the people are the working poor. So if you look at that population and look at the needs of people to find decent housing, that really is the motivation. And testimony that we heard repeatedly dealt with people such as the retired Coast Guard veteran who could not move into a community where she wanted to live near her family because she could not find an apartment that could be rented. The assertion that this is some clandestine effort is just not true. The legislation has been heard publicly, it was vetted publicly, and when the House of Delegates passed the bill, it was a public process. What's happened at the county level is entirely different. The agreement reached between the county executive and HUD and the parties in that case are not related to the Home Act legislation that was passed.